Steve Balczo.
Thank you, Ken. I don't remember a time as a sergeant major where the troops started clapping because the sergeant major was going to talk. Especially when he says fall in, take a knee. Usually there was some kind of chewing that was coming along with it, right? However, new times, new dates, it's an honor. It's an honor to reflect on the impact the Vietnam War and, more importantly, the veterans had upon future generations. For years, 51 now, we've talked about the impact internally to the veterans. Internally physically, internally psychologically, internally how you've acted coming back to America and receiving the non-appreciation from a country.
Right.
We've been down that road many times, haven't we? But it hasn't been just an internal impact, there's been an external impact as well. Upon returning from theater, you weren't received as well as you should have been. You were citizen soldiers who signed up to defend their country. It was not your decision to go into foreign shores, but yet you bore the brunt when you returned back home by the civilian populace, when it should have been the politicians receiving that front. You've been shunned to a corner, said it was a war conflict, not an actual war, a policing action. Therefore, you didn't deserve all the benefits and rights. And still yet, we are cleaning up the benefits you deserve. It's been an internal impact, but it's also been an external impact. When we think about the Gold Star families, how quickly they are forgotten and they're shoved into the corners. Let's not forget those who are on the left and the right that left family behind, whose families continue to suffer. Memorial Day, Veterans Day, 4th of July. Keep that flag raised high. We are benefactors of their service, for we still live in the freest country of this nation. My wife was quick to note, or to tell me, give me that binder of a 40-page speech. It says here you're the keynote speaker. And I know how you like to talk as a sergeant major. So she left me the note. Sometimes it takes a good woman to keep the sergeant major in track, is what it is. But the more importantly, the fact I want to bring out today, the third effort, not only was it internal, not only was it external, but there was an enduring impact. An enduring impact that many of you have never heard. The enduring impact is the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding that you passed down to the warriors who came after you. I am a benefactor of that wisdom, that understanding, that knowledge. As a young Marine in the very early 80s, we couldn't wait to go to war. And it was the Vietnam veterans who pulled me by the ear aside and said, shut up, you don't know that which you asked for. If you do 20 years and you never go to war, you're a blessed man. Don't invert that. And that stuck with me, even till today. I started flying out in the slow-flying Huey, the UH-1N. It was a stab bar much like this. And I got to hang out like an idiot because I saw you guys from Vietnam hanging out the gunner's door, and I thought that looked cool. Until they started shooting off the 2.75 Zunies from underneath my feet, and then I wet my flight suit. I stopped hanging out the door. And the gunnery sergeant from Vietnam says, I told you so. Another learning opportunity. The enduring wisdom that we learned in Vietnam, you brought back to us, was a new war front. We had never fought guerrilla warfare until that time. Our enemies was uniformed, much like we were, though different. In Vietnam, you fought an enemy that could disguise themselves as civilians. Your rules of engagement were extra strict on you. We've learned from that. We've learned from the way that you operated in combat, and we started to employ that in new doctrine. And because of your wisdom and what you have learned during that time, we have folded into our war-fighting doctrine so that today's generation and tomorrow can fight our wars better, more efficiently, and our men and women can come home in greater numbers than that which you did. Your sacrifice goes beyond just the time you spend in country. No, as regiments hand down forever, you have handed down the wisdom, the knowledge, and the understanding that today's warfighter needs. So thank you. Thank you for what you set forth. Thank you for your integrity in the fight. Thank you for your patriotism to serve your country, because it still speaks loud, whether you realize that or not. Secondly, to chapter 649, thanks for having me here today. It is good for me to be amongst my brothers and sisters, to shake hands with fellow warriors. There's something about the greening or the bluing process from our fellow brothers and sisters who have worn the sacred cloth of our nation. There's something different about you. There's a family atmosphere to us, whether we've ever met before or not. It shows in your eyes, it shows in your stance, and it shows in your conduct. So thank you for making America great. There are many young women and men coming behind you that continue in your shadows. Thanks for having me here today. Ken, I resign the podium, sir.